Okay. So yesterday we did aggregate. We did aggregate. So today we will start from today. So I said we do today, we do now, we do end of month, we do e-date, then we do work days. So let's start right away. So normally these today, now, end of month, e-date, work days, these are quite very easy formula, very simple formulas, and they are very important for people who want to keep track of days or time. Just for you to know how you could do this using Excel. So that's why we are getting into it. So okay, so let's go for today. Let's just have it there. So if we are doing today, basically today is just to know. So we say today it returns the current date formatted as a date. So basically this is just to make you know the current date. So if we are looking for the date of today, maybe I'm not very sure, I want to be sure. So I could just use this formula today. I enter today, I already have my open bracket there. So all I'll need to do is just to close that bracket and press enter. So you can see here, it means that today is the 8th. My date here is appearing in, this is the month, this is the day, and then this is the year. So today is the 8th day of October 2023. 2023. So this is just what today does. It just gives you the date of that very day. So it's as simple as that. Whenever you're confused about what's today's date, so rather than ask someone, you have Excel there, you could just use this formula to get the date of that day. So that is that for today. Then the next thing we have here is now. So now, this one returns time. It returns time. So if I say equals to, and I enter now, so you see it returns current date and time formatted as a date and time. So if I'm using now, by doing this, just like we did in the other one, you just close. So you don't need to enter anything. You just, as the bracket is open, you just close it and then enter. So still giving us this today's date, supposed to give us time also. So it's supposed to bring up the time. I don't know why it's not giving us time. So it's supposed to, it works for dates. That one works for dates and time. So let's keep it at time. And let me do it again. So if I say equals to, if I use now, so if I close, so you see, this is the time we are having here. So that is that for now. It shows you date and time. So this is exactly the time right now, 8:13 p.m. Just say 8:14 because this is It's showing even down to the seconds. So that's why I had this 55. So this 814. So that is that for now. So the next thing we have here is end of month. So this one is very useful for those of us that maybe I borrowed somebody something, and I'm like, please, at the end of the month, I need this thing I gave to you. Then I want to determine when is that end of month. I'm sure it can be used in different scenarios, but I think that's like the easiest way to explain where you can use it. So we have it here, EO month. EO month. So you see the argument here is asking us for the start date, and then you put the month. So you put your start date and then the month. So that's what the argument there. Okay, let me see. Somebody can't hear you again. Sorry about that. So now we said for end of month, that the first thing is we'll have our start date. So let's go to where we have a date. Let's see. Okay, let's say the date we are using is this. This is our start date. Let's use this. So if these are start dates, then the next thing is asking. Using this date. Then the next thing is asking is the month. So I want it to be end of month. How many months? Am I looking for just 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? So that's where I'll now specify these months. So let me say I want to know the end of month, the end of 2 months from this very date. Remember, this is the date we are working with. 29th of May 2023. So maybe I want to know the end of 4 months from there. Let's use 4. Number of months 4. Then let's close. So if I press enter, so the end of 4 months from this day that we selected is this. Let's change this to date. Now it's appearing this way. Let's change it to short date. So is on the 30th of September 2023. So remember we said 4 months. I want to see the end of that date we selected in 4 months time. So it's telling us that, remember it was in May, the date we selected, let me go back there again, was this on the 29th of May 2023. So it's now telling us that the end of 4 months from this date is on this very day it has given to us here. Is on the 30th of September 2023. Yes, somebody is asking, can I type a date without making reference? Of course, you can do that. So let's even try that. Let's try typing the date So if you want to type your date instead of this, so let's still use the date we're using. So that date was 5th, was the 5th of May. Oh, sorry, May 29th, May 29th, 2023. May 29th, 2023. So let's see. I think the arrangement of our dates here is somehow different from what we have. Okay, let's use 29th of May, 2023. 29th of May, 2023. Let's check this and see. Start date and month. 29th of May, 2023. Okay, since this is going this way, so rather what I think we should do is let's use today inside of it to get the date. So let's just say now we have our end of month, then let's bring in today. We want to get today. So today, comma. So that's today. Then we'll have our comma. Then how many months from today are we looking for? We are looking for 4 months from today. Then we close, enter. So this is what is given to us, telling us that 4 months, the end of 4 months from today would give us, that would be February 29th, 2024. So February 29th, 2024 would be the end of 4 months from today. So for the person that was asking if we can use date, we tried inserting the date, but it's as if our date format is different from what the system can recognize. So that is why I decided instead we should use today to determine the date. So this is just, it's giving us, remember we said it should give us the end of 4 months from today. So it will determine today, and then this is for the month. So we are looking for the end of 4 months from today. So now it's telling us that the end of 4 months from today would be on the 29th of February, 2024. So at this point, do we still have any issue with end of month? So you can either do it using a date, or you can do it, I think this is like the simplest way, if you're counting from the very day you are in, using today inside of the formula. So hope we can move ahead. Please, can we move ahead? Okay. So the next thing we have here is e-date. The next thing we have is e-date. So e-date, we say it returns the serial number of the date. That is the indicated number of months before or after the start date. I missed two classes. Babajide, you said you missed two classes. Is that supposed to be my own problem? I don't know why you missed the class now. So maybe just ask, they would give you the videos of those classes you missed. If the video have been dropped, somebody will send it to you. So we said e-date returns the serial number of the date that is the indicated number of months before or after the start date. So this one, if we bring it here, so it brings out start date and then months. So let's say our start date, let's still use today as our start date. Today. Then what's the month? Let's say 1 month. Please, you need to repeat the months out. I joined some minutes ago. But you joined late now. Class was supposed to start by 8. So it's not really this thing that I should go and start all over again. The person asking me to repeat this thing. Okay, I'll just do it. But please, next time, try and join the class on time. Alade, please, next time, join on time. Okay, so before the e-date, let's still do the end of month. I think that's where you got lost. So we said end of month. Okay, somebody, don't worry, let me just attend to this one. After this, we'll not entertain this kind of comments again. So we said end of month. Somebody is even saying I should recap on today. So we said end of month is used to know the end of the month from the start date. So the argument here is that you choose the start date and then you now choose how many months you want for it to give you that end of month. So I went here to where I have this date here, and this was the date I selected. So I selected this date, 5th of, as it 29th of May 2023. So I did comma, and now the next argument there is the month. It's now asking us how many months from this day that I've chosen. So how many months? So now the months I want is, I just said it should give me 4 months from that date. Then I closed and I pressed enter. So let me change this to a short date. So it's now telling me that 4 months from that date I choose would be on the 30th of September 2023. Remember, the date I choose was on the 29th of May 2023. And then the number of months I picked was, I said it should give me the end of 4 months from that date. So that was why it's giving me, okay, someone said I should choose a different date. So the different date is when I now decided to use today. So I decided to use today. So for those that did not follow today, somebody was asking about today. Today gives you the date of today. So if I want to find out what's today's date, I can just use that formula today on Excel. It will give me the date of today. So now I want to use today as the start date. So rather than type today's date, I'll just use the formula today. So if I bring the formula today there, remember we say when you're using today, you don't put anything, just open and close. So I want to find out 4 months from today, the end of 4 months from today. Remember, this is my start date, and I'm choosing the number of months. I can decide to say I want to know the end of 2 months. If I change this to 2, it will be the end of 2 months from today. I can change it to 1. It will be the end of 1 month from today. So if I should press my enter, you see that the end of 1 month from today is giving me 30th of this is October, 30th of October 2023. That means the end of 1 month from today is on the last day of next month. So remember, it's always giving you the end of the month. So please take note. It's always giving you the end of the month. So it's telling me that the end of the 1 month from today, the end of that month is the 30th of November. So we now moved over to E-date. We said E-date was to, we say E-date is to return the number of dates that is indicated, that's the indicated number of months before or after this. So what we're looking for, we said we want the start date to be today. So we used today as the start date. And then what was the next thing? We said we want to know, let's say 2 months from today. We want to know 2 months from today. So what will be 2 months from today? So now this is different from when we did end of month. This one now is giving us exactly 2 months from today, while end of month was concerned about the end of the month. Remember, this one was end of month. Now, E-date, we told it, please, so maybe I gave somebody a loan, and I've told that person, please, so I need this loan exactly 2 months from today. Please, is when I need that money back. And the person is like, please, what date is that? So I want to be sure that 2 months from today is exactly the date. So I use Excel. Excel is telling me that 2 months from today will be on the 8th of December 2023. So hope we understand to this point before we move forward. Any question? Please, if you have any question, just reserve it, write it down somewhere. Then when we get to question and answer, Maurice, please just write your question down somewhere. When we get to question and answer, I'll give enough room for question and answer. So all questions will be taken there. Okay, so that is that for end of month and E-date. So what's the next thing we have here is work days. The next thing we have is work days. So let's do for work days. Okay, Anthony, I know, just keep the question. When it's time for question and answer, please, we'll do a recap. I'll give enough time for question and answer. So whatever you don't understand, please you can write it down somewhere so that you don't forget. And it's time for question and answer. So now we say we are moving to work days. Was it work days? Yeah, work days. Okay. So work days. Okay. So now if you check here, you see that we have two different work day here. We have this and we have this. Now the difference is one of these would give you every day without allowing you to choose which days you want to make your weekends that you don't want it to count. Remember, you want to count work days alone. You want to count your work days. So there's one of these that will allow you choose which day you consider your weekends, while the other one will just give you, it chooses the weekends automatically for you. Now, everybody don't have the same weekends. There are some persons that their weekends are only on Sundays. They work even down to Saturdays. While there are some other persons that work Monday to Friday, Saturday and Sunday is their weekend. There are even in some situations, some people do different kind of jobs. There are even some jobs where your weekends or the days you're not working, let me just use it as your weekend, is actually on a weekday. Maybe they give you Wednesday and Thursday, you don't work, but every other day you work, or they give you only Friday that you don't work. So depending on the situation you're working with, you choose your this thing. So now, if we should pick this first one, let's pick the first one. So if we enter the start date is, let's use today. Let's use today. Please, the reason I'm always using today is because the date format here is giving me a bit of an issue. So that's why I'm using today for the listing. So the days now, the next thing is the days. So how many days do I want to calculate? I want it to give me 14. I want to check my 14 working days from today. 14 working days from today. So yeah, now the holidays, let's see. Yeah, the holidays is not determined by us, because if it were now, we would have seen this thing pop down where we choose the day we want to use as our holidays. So yeah, we don't get to determine that. So our holiday is not determined by us. So let's close it here. So that means automatically this one is picking the normal international listing, which is Saturday and Sunday as our holidays. So now if we press enter, this is the date it's giving us as 14 days. Remember, we're looking for 14 days from today. So 14 days from today is telling us that it will be on the 26th of 14 working days, sorry, 14 working days from today. It's telling us that it will be on the 26th of October 2023. So now let's use the other one. Let's use the other one and see. So let's use this one. Okay. So our start date now. Our start date now, we still want to use today. Then our, how many days? 14 days. Then what is our weekends? You now see, yeah, I have the choice of choosing my weekends. So when is my weekends that I don't want this to choose to count into this, my work days? I don't want it to count Saturday and Sunday. So I'll just enter 1. I don't want it to count Sunday and Monday. I'll enter 2. I don't want it to count Monday and Tuesday. I'll enter 3. I don't want it to count. So I have so many these options here. Maybe if my weekends is always Sundays alone, I have Sunday only here. I have Monday only. I have Tuesday only, Wednesday only, Thursday only, Friday only. So whichever day is my weekend. Let me say my weekend is Sunday only. So I'll just enter 11. 11 now will give me Sunday only. So now I've picked 11. Then let me close. So now 14 working days from today, excluding Sundays. 14 working days from today, excluding Sundays, will take me to the 24th of October 2023. This is excluding Sundays. So assuming in this, this thing, I excluded Saturday and Sunday. So let me, one is Saturday and Sunday. Let me leave it at Saturday and Sunday. You see that now it's showing me my 14 working days will now be 26th of October 2023. So it has, but the first one I excluded only Sundays. So Saturdays were added. So that was why my 14 working days could come faster. My 14 working days was faster than this. But now I've excluded every Saturday and every Sunday. So it has made the date longer for me. Now, for me to get 14 working days, I need to work until the 26th of this month. That will complete my 14 working days from today. So hope this is okay. So we've talked about today, we've talked about now, we've talked about end of month, we've talked about e-dates, and now we just finished work days. So hope we all understand the difference with each of these. So this one gives us the dates for today. This one gives us time and dates, while this one gives us the end of month for how many months we want to determine from whichever date we want to know. Then this one determines the e-date. It gives us the dates of how many months from the day you want to determine. So this one is end of month. This one is the date of, you choose the duration of the month also, and it gives you that date. While here, work days, you say this one is you calculating your work days. Maybe I want to give myself a deadline for a particular thing, and I say, I need to complete this in the next 5 working days. So all I just need to do is my working days now, I just come here, I say 5. So I want 5 working days from today. Then I will now choose which days are my weekends, so that it does not calculate my weekends into my work days. That is where we came up with this one, where I choose my weekends. So my weekends can be Saturday and Sunday, which is one, Sunday and Monday. Whichever days are my rest days that I don't use to work, I select that day, and then that will calculate my work days for me, excluding that day I have chosen as my weekend. So that is that for work days. So now we'll be moving to, please, I know some of you have questions. Please, just as I said, write down your questions. So we'll soon get to question and answer section. When we get there, please, as much questions as you have, you can start asking. We'll have enough time to treat that. So now we want to move over to, what's the next thing we have here? Sum if. So we want to do sum if. So we are doing sum if. So let's go to this table. What exactly do we want to do? So what we want to do here is we want to check the profit. Now this is a table showing us our customers and quantities they bought, the products they bought. We also have our profit here. This is total selling price, total cost price. This is the unit price. This is the cost price. This is the quantity. So in this table now, what we want to do is we want to see the profit we made in just our sales to the United States. We want to see the profit we made in our sales to the United States. So now, what is our, let's go here. Let's do it here. So we want to use some if to check the profit we made for all our sales to the United States. Now, if I say equals to, okay. So if I say equals to sum if, now the first thing is asking me there is for my range. That's my criteria range. It's asking for my criteria range. Now, what are we looking for? Remember, I said we want to look for the profit we made, our sales to the United States. So now, what will be our criteria range now? Our criteria range is, will come here. So what we are looking for is this. This will become our criteria range, the whole of this country. So we'll select this range as our criteria range because we have USA inside here. Remember, we want to look for the profit of our sales to the United States. So USA becomes our criteria range. So now we've selected the criteria range. Then, what is our criteria? We've selected our criteria range. Now we have to pick a criteria. The criteria is this. United States is our criteria. So we've selected our criteria as United States. Then the next thing now is asking us for the sum range. Where do we want it to sum? Remember, we want to see our profits from the United States. So now our sum range is, we'll now go to where we have our profit so that it will be able to sum all of our profit for us. Now, using only the United States, sales made to the United States. So now we'll go back to where we have that. So now, now go to where we have this. So this is now our sum range. Our sum range now will be the whole of this range where we have profit. And then we close and we press enter. So now from here we can see that in the United States, the total profit we made in our sales to the United States was $5,374.50. Now this is, let me explain this. We are looking for profits we made. Now this is where we have United States. We have our United States here, where we have country. So every sale we made to the United States, it would sum, it's calculating the profit. Now, so we made this particular sale to the United States, this one, this one, this one, just like that. This from 101, let me see the end of this. This is from 101 to 601. So this is over 501 sales or different products that people bought, different people buying these products. So now I want to calculate all the profit we made in our sales to just the United States. So that is what we did there by calculating our profit using the United States now as our range, as our criteria. The country was our criteria range. Then we selected the criteria to be the United States. And then we now said the sum range, what we wanted to sum is just the profit, which it did. So now if I do a drop down here, you can see for other countries, this was the profit we made for the other countries. So down to the very last country. So every country on that list now, this is the profit we made selling to each of those countries. So we made this in the United States, we made this in Brazil, so it has just done what we did there. We asked it to sum our profits in the United States for us. So sum if works with just one criteria. In this case, the criteria was for it to sum our profit in the United States for us. What if I was working with different criteria? Now, let's say I want to know the total number of quantities of product one. Now we have quantities here. These are the different quantities that were sold to these different people from different countries. So now I want to know the total number of quantity of just product one. How many people from the United States bought product one from me? Now remember, my criteria now is not just one, because I'm looking for both the product and I'm also looking for quantity. So it's no longer one criteria. So in this case, I cannot use sum if. I have to use another formula known as sum ifs. So that will be the next formula we'll go to. But before that, let's try something else with still that sum if. Okay, let's just move forward, because today I want to give enough time for question and answer. I want to give enough time for question and answer. So let's just move to. So now, here, we want to look for the total number of quantity for product one. That's what we want to look for. I want it to give us that for only people from the United States. People from the United States. So I said because our criteria is more than one, we cannot use sum if here. So rather, we'll use sum ifs. So now we say sum. So we have sum ifs here. Sum ifs. So now the first argument here for sum ifs is the sum range. The sum range. Now, what do we want to sum? Remember, we said what we want to sum. We want to know the total quantity of product one that was sold to the United States. So our sum range now will become the quantity. That is what we will use as our sum range, because that's what we want to know. So now our sum range is this quantity. So quantity becomes our sum range. So now we've gotten our sum range. The next argument there is what? The next argument there is our criteria range one. So now for the criteria range one, I have two criteria here. The criteria is I want it to be people from the USA and I want it to be product one. People from the USA and I want it to be product one. So our criteria range one, I can decide to start with product and I can also decide to start with country, whichever one I choose to start with. So let me start with country. So now our criteria range one, we are picking country. So we've selected country. Now, comma, we now have to give it the next argument here is we selected the criteria range. We now have to give it the criteria. So the criteria is United States. So United States, you can type it there or you can just come here and select it here. So United States becomes our criteria. So now it's now asking for criteria range 2. So criteria range 2 will now be the product. So product becomes our criteria range 2. So after that, the next argument is that we give criteria 2. So criteria 2 will now be, we say we are concerned about product 1. So now we enter product 1. product one. So we close our quotation, then we close our bracket, then we press enter. So what is giving us here is that for product one, we had 162 quantities that were bought from people from the United States. That is what this is telling us here. That for this product one, 162 was sold to the United States. 162 was sold to the United States, just product one only. So if I do a drop down, you see, that means the quantity of product one that was sold to people in Brazil was 122. People in China was 87. People in Japan. So this is now, all of this is the quantity for product one, because what we did for was product one. So if we go back to this formula, the formula we did, if we go back to this formula, you can see that we can still test as many criteria as possible. We can continue testing different, you see, we still have criteria range 3, criteria. So if I have my criteria range 3 after this, let me say maybe I want to add, the next thing is I want to find out gender, and I have gender as my criteria range 3, and then the criteria is I want to find out just how many of those were male, and I have male there. I can give it as many criteria as possible. That's because I'm using some ifs. But when you're using some if, you do not have that luxury for so many criteria. So you can only have one criteria. So it's either I'm looking for just profit of people that bought from USA. That's it. I cannot be looking for profit or at the same time looking for their quantities, or I'm looking for their gender. No, I have to be specific. So I know I have so many people that are confused. Yeah. So now it's time for question. Please, beginning from, I saw so many persons, they were like, I'm joining, I did not get. So now it's time for those questions. As many questions as you have, please, it's time for you to start. Just raise your hand and I will unmute you so that you can now ask your question. So for those that you were lost at any point, so please raise your hand, I will unmute you. So, Anthony, go on.
All right. Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Hi, Anthony. Good evening.
Thank you, sir. Sir, please, I did not understand that e-date. My system, my network actually went off then. Then these two that you did last, I didn't get them very well. I didn't understand e-dates, some if, and the some ifs.
Okay. So
yes, I need more clarification so that I'll grab it. And you know, this one you are using two different sheets.
Okay, it's because what we have the other way is that sheet is full and it's very, so I had to do it somewhere else so that you can see what I'm doing and follow. So that was why I had to bring this other sheet here. So had it been we had just small data we're working with, I would have done it on that sheet.
But sir, will it not be possible? Let's just copy out the columns that we need to do so that we can do it in one sheet, understand it before we can now start juggling between one sheet and the other.
It's actually the same thing, just the same thing as I did. All you just do, if you follow the formula, There's nothing given to them. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so Engineer Godwin, you can ask your question. Engineer Godwin, you can unmute.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
One of my questions has been taken care of, as in he asked one of the questions.
Which is?
But the one that is actually giving me nightmare is that of aggregate of yesterday. I don't know if you can still handle it or I should leave it for now.
Okay, so what is the challenge you're having with the aggregate?
Yes, I try to practice it. I have a range where I have dash in some of the cells.
Okay.
So I try to get the minimum value in that range.
Yeah.
The minimum value returned as dash, which I feel it's supposed to be the lowest value that is in the range.
Okay, so what we'll do is this, so that we don't start going back to what we did yesterday. After this class, maybe we can handle it, me and you, on WhatsApp, or I can fix a Zoom listing. Maybe if I'm not chance today, we can do that tomorrow, so that I can see exactly what you're doing on your system. Then we'll see where the error is. And so I actually do that. There are people in this class that they used to chat me up privately, then I'll fix a Zoom meeting and we handle it. So whichever way is okay for you. I think the Zoom listing would be perfect, so that I can actually see what you're doing. Then we'll discuss over what's causing the issue. Is that fine by you?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, but please, that may not be tonight. So when I'm chance, I'll just let you know. So just send me hi on WhatsApp so that I would have your listing. Then I can always just remind me on WhatsApp. Okay, Mr. Tunde, you can unmute.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
That arrangement you are making with Engineer Aiko, it has to be a general thing.
Engineer Godwin.
Some people, Engineer Godwin, it has to be a general thing because some people are still largely behind the schedule of the class. So you make it public for people who are interested in revision. Let them join the Zoom meeting.
Okay.
And make it openly for everybody on WhatsApp so that we can go along with it. Now, my question is on that end of the month, month. I think that today's function, get today, in SQL, you will say get today. But today's function is okay. But on the end of the month, assuming we are looking for a larger sales that comes in earlier before the start date, how can we go back and get the date? Because that month said start date and the month. Start date can either come without the month. It can just be the number of the day, not with month. Because that function is asking, month is asking for end of the month, is asking for start date and month. And start date cannot be included because it included the month initially. That's why we are getting error. But I'm not that particular on that. I'm particularly on going back to a particular date and get the date we have a higher sales.
Okay.
How can we do that?
The dates you're asking for, you have the dates you want to work with, maybe inside your data or something, right?
I know. I'm using your database on the Excel.
Okay.
On this
so
Excel.
I should go back and use a date from the data I have. I should not use today, right?
Yes, that's where I want you to go to. Like if I say, okay, I want to get the end of the month sales. Okay, today is what's today's date now?
8th of October.
Today is 8th of October.
Okay.
And what happened? There's a higher sales the company got at May of this year. And we want to use that May to project our next year sales.
So our
How
start
can
date
we
should be that May.
It will be that May.
Okay. Then after you pick that start date now, you would now give it the number of months.
The network is bad.
Okay, I think I understand you. So I think I understand the questions. So if I should have gotten you people very well, the questions cover basically almost everything we've done today. So let me just do a quick recap. So I'll start from the first question was about, somebody asked about today. No, somebody asked about end of month. So let's start from end of month. Okay. So for end of month, let's bring up our, so this is it. So our start date now, according to Mr. Tunde, let's not use today. Let's go back here. Let's pick a start date from here. This is May. This is 29th of May, 2023. In this, our data set. So if I should use this as my start date, this date, comma. Now remember, I have to give it how many months I'm looking at. So now this is May. How many months am I looking at? I want it to cover till this month. So from May till now, that's about 5 months. Abi? May, June, July, August, September, October. So that's about 5 months. So I'll give it the total number of months that I want. So now, if I should close this and have my enter, you see, it's telling me that 5 months from that date, the end of that month will be 31st of this month. It will be 31st of this month. That's 5 months because I picked 5 months from that date. So, Mr. Tunde, I hope this clarifies what you're asking. So now I did not use today. Rather, I used that date from, this is where we picked our date from, the 29th of May, 2023. So we picked our date from here, and then we went and gave it the number of months that we wanted to work with, which we said it should be 5 months, and it gave us this. So, Mr. Tunde, please, does this answer your question? Please let me be sure we are okay to this point. Please, does this answer your question, Mr. Tunde? Let me be sure I got you right. Mr. Tunde, I want to hear from you before I move forward to the next thing. Please, does this answer your question? Okay, I don't know what's wrong. Maybe his network is having issue. Don't know. So let's move forward. The next question another person asked was about the e-dates. I think we had a question on e-dates. Yeah, e-dates. So I said for the e-dates, it's very simple. Now, what happened with end of month is that it's always showing us the end of the month. We specify how many months, but it will always show you the end of that month. But for e-date, it does not count to the end of that month. Rather, it shows you, it counts the month from the start date So if my start date is today, and I want it to give me 5 months from today, is E date I will use, because I'm looking for 5 months from today and not the end of 5 months from today. So end of month is concerned about the end of 5 months of the month. So if I use end of month and I say 5 months, it will give me the end of 5 months from that start date. But if I use E date, it's not going to give me the end of that month. It will give me the end, it will count exactly 5 months from the start date. So if our start date, now let's say E date, if our start date, let's still go back and use the date from here. So if our start date is this date, this 29th of May 2023, this is our start date. And then we want it to give us 5 months from that date. So we are looking at 5 months. 5 months from that date. And then we close. Now, if I press enter, you see that 5 months from that date is the 29th of October 2023. Now, the difference with this and this one gave us the end of the month. That's when we used end of month, end of 5 months from that date. But here now, it's not end of, it's giving you exactly 5 months from that start date. So that's the difference between the E date and the end of month. E date is exactly, now let's say it's not 5 months I'm looking for. I'm looking for just 1 month, or let's say 8 months. 8 months from that date, that very date that we used. You see, so 8 months from that date will be the 29th of January 2024. So this one is concerned about counting the month from the start date. While this one is at the end of month, is concerned about counting the month and giving you the end of that very month. So that's the difference here, please. End of month is concerned about the end of that month. It will give you the number of months, but it must give you the end of that month, not the months as E date will give you. This one is giving you exactly the number of months from the start date. So please, that's the difference. Are we all at the same page up to this point? So for what was the next thing? Someone also asked, I think there was a question about workday also. There was a question about workdays. So workdays, I said that one is very simple. I'm just using it to calculate my workdays. Maybe your boss comes in and tell you, please, I want this document ready in 14 working days. I want this document ready in 5 working days. I want this document ready in 21 working days. So I just want to, maybe he told me 28 working days. And in that our company, I know that we used to work on Saturdays. So Saturdays are also a working day. It's just Sundays we don't work. Or we used to work every other day except Friday alone. So I just want to select that the day we don't work so that I can count the working days. Let me know the day I have to submit whatever it is he gave to me. Somebody is asking, why can't we get the whole of the data set on it? I had explained this now, Abigail. This thing we are working with, that data set, okay, let me take you there. This is the data set you are working with. Now, you can see this data set is very broad. See, if I go here, I still have some this here. Or would you have preferred we do it maybe here? We should do it here. Is that maybe what you would have preferred? Should we come and do it here so that it will be the same data set? I just feel like it would be better we just look for somewhere else. It's the same thing. The only thing there is when you're entering it, you get this because since you're using a different data set, you see now it's writing the sheet I'm working with. So like now, this is dash, the name of this sheet is dash back end. So that's why you see this coming in here. If not, if I can choose to remove the name of the sheet and just leave this here. So it's just the same thing. Somebody is asking us to do today and now and again. Please, we're sorry, you get that when you watch the replay of the class, because that would be like us going to. So Abigail, it's the same thing, please. It's the same thing. So we said, where were we? Work days. I just want to calculate my work days. So sometimes those things can be tricky. Somebody comes and you say, please, I need this thing ready in 6 working days. I need this thing ready in 12 working days. So it can be a bit tricky. So you can just with Excel, you can use Excel. Now we now explain. You say these working days are different. If you use the first one, it does not give you the option to choose your weekends. It automatically assumes your weekend is Saturday and Sunday. But if I use this one, so here I can select my weekend. If I come here, I'll choose my start. Maybe that person told me that thing on a certain date. So I need to know. Let me even say it's past. Maybe this deadline was given to me some days ago. And now oh, Jesus, I hope I've not defaulted with the deadline. Let me know how many days I have left. So you just enter the start date. The start date now will be that day that tax was assigned to you. That's the start. That's just what this start date was. So when we did it, I used today as example because I felt like our date entry was giving us issue. So I had to. So this start date, let me try the date entry again. Let's say this was given to us last week Friday. Last week Friday today is 8th. So last week Friday would be 6th. So let's say it was given to us on the 6th of October 2023. So that becomes our start date. What is the days? How many days am I looking for? I want you to calculate 12 working days from this start date for me. So 12 working days. Now you see it's now asking me to choose my weekend, the days I don't want it to include. So I work on Saturdays. I don't work on Sundays. I work on, so all of this is just giving you options to choose which days you still work. So maybe my weekend is Saturday only, is Friday only, is Thursday only, is Wednesday only, so I can pick which other day, what's the combination? Is it Sunday and Monday? So I now choose the days I don't work. So in this case, it's Saturday only that I don't work. So Sunday only that I don't work, and that's 11. So I'll just go back to where I have this thing, and I'll put 11 there. 11 now will represent Sunday only. So that means my weekends is Sunday only. And I'll close, then I'll press enter. So you see, I told you our date is giving us issues. Yeah, that was why I did not want to impute this date, the start date. That was why I was using today. The date, the setting of the date is giving us issue. So that was why I was using today. Okay, now let me not even use, let me go and use the date from here. Let me use, okay, Engineer Godwin said we should reverse the day and month. Okay, we'll try that. We'll try that option. But let's pick a date from here. Let's just pick this date. Okay, somebody said the months come first. We'll try that also. Let's pick this date. So we've selected. Sorry. What happened? Okay, let's even try this way. Month comes first, so that would be 10th. Then we said Friday was 6, and then 2023. So now we've entered it this way. Let's see if it will now give us 12 working days from that date. So the date is still giving us issue. So the date is still an issue here. Still giving us this 1993, 1990, 1900 rather. It's still an issue. So let's just use an obvious date. Let's just select a date. So let's come here, let's pick this date. Let's pick this date as our start date, comma. Then we say 12 working days. 12 working days. And then we say we want to remove only Sundays. So that would be 11. Only Sundays. And close. So you see now, it's telling us that 12 working days from that date we choose. Now let's go back and see the date. The date we choose was this date, 29th of May 2023. 29th of May 2023. So now it's telling us that 12 working days from that day, excluding Sundays, will be on the 12th of June 2023. Let's change, we don't need 12 working days again. Let's change this to 15 working days. Let's see. 15 working days. And we still want it to exclude Sundays for us. So 15 working days will be on the 15th. Now let's even add Saturdays. Let's make it Saturdays and Sunday. So we want it to use Saturday and Sunday, which is number 1. So we want 15 working days from that date, but we want it to exclude Saturdays and Sundays. So now, excluding Saturdays and Sunday, if I press enter, you see, it's telling us that 15 working days from the 5th of May, 29th of May 2023 will be on the 19th of June 2023. So it has given us those work days according to what we excluded. So we excluded Saturdays and Sunday. So it has excluded those days and has given us. So now I can confidently know that, okay, my deadline is on this day because I was told that I need to finish in 15 working days from that date. So please, that is that for work days. You just basically use it to know your working days and then you exclude your weekends. So it's just you deciding which days your weekends are. So that is that. So another question was asked about sum. Please, to this point, anybody still has an issue? Somebody said I should not use month in start date. I should not use month in the start date. Mr. Tunde, okay. So if I had removed month, the formula would have worked. Is that what you're saying? It would not have given us the 1900. Let's move forward. So the next thing we did was we did sum. We did sum. And in doing sum, we're trying to look for, in doing sum, we said we wanted to check for the profit of, let's even change it to something else. Let's change it to quantity now, or what again? Let me see another thing we have there that we can use. Okay, let's sum the total quantity. Let's sum the total quantity. Let's use quantity. So now we want to look for the total. Remember, we are using sum. So we want to sum the total quantity of all what was bought from, of the product that was bought from people from the USA. That is what we want to look for now. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My date, there's something wrong with it. So that's why it's giving us that 1900. So that was why I just had to use an existing date that is already there. I don't know. So now we are doing sum. We want to look for the total quantity of our sales to USA. Can we get the replay in real time so that the gap will be covered soon? Sorry, Ijoma, I don't get you when you say replay in real time. Please, if you don't mind, can you expatiate on that? I don't get you. So now I want to look for the sum of all the quantity that was bought from the United States. And now we said the first thing is our criteria range. So now what are we looking for? We want to get the quantity, the sum of all the quantity that was bought from the United States. So our criteria range, the first thing there is we'll choose this where we are interested in, is this range where we have USA. Remember, we wanted to sum all the quantities here that bought only for those that were to the United States. So that's what we are asking. So the criteria here is the quantities of those from the United States. So now this is our criteria range. Then now what is the criteria? The criteria is we want only the United States. That's the criteria. United States. So now the next thing is asking is our sum range. So now it's asking us, what am I summing? So now we go back there. What we wanted to sum is quantity. So we want to see all the quantity that was bought from people in the United States. So now quantity becomes our, this thing. That's all. We close and we have enter. So here we are having, so let's solve it in general, giving us. So the total quantity that was bought from people in the United States was this, 1,523. This was the total quantity. So if you come here, you have 23 here, 29 here, you have 30 here. So everything that was bought, people from the United States, this now, it has summed the quantity for us. So if we do a drop down, this is also the quantity that was bought from people from other regions. So this is for summing, all we're looking for. Sorry about that, if it's hanging. So this is for quantity. The criteria we're just looking for is the quantity that was sold to the United States. So that was what we did. But now we said, what if my criteria is more than one? That was now where we tried to do for products. So now, yeah, I don't just want to get the quantity. I want to get the quantity of all the products one. People that bought just, here in this my list, I have different products here that people bought. This very person ordered for product 8. My product 8 is a different thing from product 1. It's a different thing. So you see this other person is also in the United States, but he ordered product 6. So now I'm only concerned with, I just want to find how many people bought product 1. The quantity of product 1 that I sold, and how many of that quantity went to the United States, or the order was from the United States. How many of these products 1? Okay, let's even use another product. Okay. Exactly what I mean, Tony, because that is okay. So the recording of today and yesterday. Okay, I've heard you. Don't worry, it will not take that long this week. This week, latest on Tuesday, but it should even be ready tomorrow. But if tomorrow is not, latest on Tuesday, please. It will not take that long. Then for that class that I did not drop, the class where we did H lookup and X lookup and the likes, I would do the recording also, and I'll drop it. So you get it. Okay. So we said for some ifs now, that for some ifs, is now when we are looking for more than one criteria. So for some ifs, we are looking for more than one criteria. Please, I'm getting this feedback. Please, is it a general thing? What I'm saying and what I'm doing at a time, is it not correlative? Is there a lapse in the timing? Okay, now I'm saying some ifs and I'm typing equals to some ifs. So other people are telling me that they are getting it. So I think it's your own network, please. Please, it's your own network, because you can see other people say they are getting it. So please, it's your network. So it's your network. So we said for some ifs now, we are looking for more than one criteria. So when I entered some ifs, you see the first argument here is the sum range. So now what did I say I'm looking for? I said I want to find out how many of this my product 1, the quantity of product 1 that went to the USA, quantity of product 1 that went to the USA. So now I'm testing different criteria. I can even test more than this. I can test as many criteria as possible. I can even decide, okay, I want to know how many of them were female, how many of different criteria. But here, when I was doing some, I could only test one criteria. And here I tested just for quantity. But here I'm testing, I want to know the total number of quantities, and then I want to know just product 1. I'm concerned with just product 1. So the first thing is my sum range. What would be my sum range? What am I testing? My sum range will be the quantity. So I'll go to where I have quantity. This will be my sum range, because this is what I wanted to sum for me. So after the sum range, after I've had my sum range, the next thing I'll now look for. The next thing I'll now look for is the criteria range. Okay, let's just do everything on that sheet. So this is our sum range, comma. Then the next thing is our criteria range, criteria range 1. So what's our criteria now? We said we want it to return. Now for the criteria, I can choose to start with the product. I can choose to start with let's start with the product. So product is now my criteria range 1, comma. And what is the criteria? The criteria is product 1. Product 1. So I have product 1 here. That's my criteria. I have my comma. So now, what is the criteria range 2? Now, I'll now pick country. This is the criteria range 2, comma. And then, what is this thing? Is USA. Now, let me not select from there. Let me use USA here. So, USA. And I close. Enter. So now what we've been able to establish here is the fact that for this product 1, you only had 162 of it that went to the USA. Now, if I do a drop down for other countries, okay, no. Now I cannot use a drop down. It will not work for others because when I was doing my listing, I did not come here to select USA. I just typed USA. If I had selected here, it would have done the same for others here, but I did not select from here. So that's why my drop down would not work. So that is why in the other one, I was trying to make use of cell reference so that when I did the drop down, it would do the same for these other people. So, but I choose USA, so it has done it for USA. So I can put as many criteria as I want. I can add gender, I can add, what are the other things I have here? I can add gender, I can even add profit, I can add so many things. So that's for some ifs. When you have more than one, this criteria you're working with, you use some ifs. But if you're working with just one criteria, you use some if. Somebody said can use country. Please, I don't understand. Abigail, Abigail, just let me unmute you. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Let me unmute you so that you ask. I'm not really getting what you're typing. So please just raise your hand. I will unmute you so that you can just talk so that let me get you properly. Okay. So unmute now. Abigail, unmute and ask.
Yes, sir. You said it's only because you type USA. I was like, can we select the remaining countries so that we practice it and see if it can work?
We should select the remaining country.
Yes, you said it's because you only type USA. That is why it's only doing for USA.
So instead of typing, I should select USA so that I should work for other countries.
Yes.
That's what you're asking.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So if you raise your hand also, so that let me unmute you so that I can get what you're asking. So if we just go here where we have this formula. So if you let me quickly. So sum is. So this thing was quantity. So we used quantity. And then the criteria range. We decided to start with the product. the criteria range, we use product. And we say we needed product 1. Product 1. And then the next criteria range 2 was when we now used country, selected country. So now, according to Ify said instead of typing, we should select USA. So if I come here and I select the USA here, and then I close. So you see, I have the same result. Ify, please, I'm coming to you. So I have the same result, but now if I do the drop down, you see it now works for the other countries. That was because I selected USA from here, so it's now working for these other countries. So Abigail, I hope that answers your question. So Ify, okay. So Ify, please raise your hand now. Or is it the same thing you were asking? Is it the same question you were about to ask, Ify? Okay, okay. So Anthony is asking if we select product 1 from the if we select product 1, if we select, sorry, I'm trying to, if we select product 1 from the column of products without the listing work, please, you cannot select product 1 from there. I think I've gotten your question, Anthony. Or is there something else you want to ask? Unmute and ask.
Okay, sir, please, what I'm asking, the product 1, you are typing it.
Okay.
Assuming we go to the cell, any of the cells that contains the
So I don't
select the click.
I can, okay. If I want to pick it from somewhere, I can come here and pick the product 1 from this cell here, where I have it typed here. But I cannot pick it from that range where I've selected from. So, but I can come here and pick it here and say product 1, just come and pick it from it. But I can't pick it from the range. You see, even the USA that I picked, I had to come to where I have USA typed and pick it there. I can't pick it from, I did not pick my USA from here. I didn't come here to select USA yet. So I cannot come and pick it from where I have the product and say product 1, no. But if I have it typed somewhere, I can pick it from there. Okay, so we have so many questions. Let's look at what if we select the whole range. So somebody is saying I should do for product 2. So if you're doing for product 2, it's basically just the same thing like what you just did. So let's clear what we have here. So let's say we are now doing for product 2. So let's change this. So let's change this to product 2. So here, if we say equals to sum x, we have sum x here. So it's basically the same thing. So I still go back to where I have the order. So I said the first argument there is the sum range. Okay, I think maybe why this thing is, well, let's still use this, the sum range. So what is the sum range? You say it is this is what we want it to sum. Remember, it's quantity we want it to sum. So this is the range, everything in this range. We want it to sum it for us. But now using these criteria, now the first criteria we say is only people from the USA. So we selected that range. It's only people from the USA. Then now the next thing is, we say what we want is just product, this product, and we want only product. Now we are dealing with product 2. We want only product 2. Product 2. So now, if I have enter, so that means people from the USA, I have 0 people that bought product 2. Let's see. Let's see if other people from other countries bought product 2. That means maybe it's likely we don't even have product 2. Let's confirm and see if we have product 2 on this table. We have product 2 here. So somebody in Japan bought product 2. So let's go back. So Japan is supposed to, so there's something wrong. So there's something wrong. Now what is wrong? We used let me see, where did we get our okay, let's take this again. So let's take it again. So we said this, what we need is the quantity. That's our sum range. Criteria range 1, we picked the country. And then we said the country should be USA. USA. Then our criteria range 2, we picked product. Criteria range 2 was product. And we said the product is product 2. Okay, so something was wrong with our formula. That was why. So we actually have 89 people from the USA that bought product 2. We have so many messages. Somebody said that the products are the formula bar. Take the spelling of products, okay? You made mistake in typing products, okay? Spelling of products is wrong, okay? Arrow is, okay, thank you very much. So that means we are all following. So it was just the spelling that gave us the issue. So now you see, we have 89 people. So now if we do a drop down here, so you can see there, we have 71 people from Brazil, we have 75 from Japan, 70 from China, and so on and so forth. So please, with all what we've done, is there still anywhere anybody is having any challenge. Please, if you're still having any challenge with anything you've done today, please let me know now, so that before we can come to the end of this class, let me trash that. Okay, Mr. Tunde. Okay, Mr. Tunde, you can unmute.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Now, my challenge is on the data set.
Okay,
I want you to go back to that date issue. Now,
date,
on the data, that get date, end of the month date, those are the areas I want to be clarified. The data set, we have order date,
okay,
order date. Which formula are we going to use to get the order date of product one in a particular country, let's say USA again, if you want to get the order date of the product one bought by the customer? How do we get that?
so if I'm getting you correctly, let's go here. So we have dates here.
Yeah,
Then you have the date of the order, right? As
Yeah.
against the product.
yes,
So what you're asking is, how can we get the order date
yes.
of this product?
Mhm.
The formula to get the date. Is that it? Is that what you're asking?
Yes,
Okay. So, but you see that this product now, I don't just have it in one date. So someone bought on this date, this is still product one. Another person bought product one. This is another date. Another person. So in your this thing now, I will need to be specific. So it will need to be a unique value. What exactly I'm looking for. So I cannot just look for, if I say product one now, and I want to look for that date. I have different people that bought product one, and they bought it at different dates. So now you can see, even for the United States, if I should still go down, I will see United States product, another person from United States that bought product one that is not on that very day with the other one. So I first of all need to give it a unique element or make it unique. Then if I have the unique listener, it can now be easy for me to look for whatever I'm looking for. I think that was part of what so I can now use this thing to look for that very product as against the very date I'm looking for. But first of all, I'll need to make sure it's unique. So for right now, as this data set is, that cannot be achieved because I have product one here is a different date. And there are, I told you this data set, we have over 600 and this over 501 listing. And the countries are, let me see how many countries we have here. So we have 1, 2, let me see. So this 500 and something was ordered from just 46 countries. So 46 different countries ordering all of these products. So product one now, it's definitely that inside those, you know, when we did for USA for product one, we had 162. So inside that 162, it all has different dates. So how do you now want me to start looking for? So I first of all need to give it a unique value if I'm to search for that.
Okay. Well, we can use conditional formatting to get the
very one you're looking for.
we are looking for, sir.
Okay. So if I'm using conditional formatting now, that's also like me knowing the very customer that I'm concerned about or the very date that I'm concerned about. So that's the unique thing I'm telling you. I need to know either the customer I'm concerned about or the very date I'm concerned about. So now I'll use formatting to look for that very date and then work with that date. So rather than choose the whole range I'll just know it's that date I'm looking for.
Okay. Okay.
So, please, these people that you're typing this thing, I'd appreciate it more if you can raise your hand and ask your question so that I can really get what you're saying.